It was the night before Hearth's-warming Eve, and winter had come to Equestria quickly, as it usually did, covering everywhere with a blanket of white snow. Princess Celestia stood outside, looking out on the balcony of her personal private chamber, watching the snowflakes fall slowly to the ground. From her balcony, she saw many ponies in the streets of Canterlot below, singing carols, buying last-minute supplies, and putting up the lovely Hearth's-warming Eve trees and decorations in the main streets. The sight of seeing her subjects happy at this time of year put a smile on her face. She soon went back inside, closing the balcony door behind her, and rested herself down at her favorite spot in front of the fireplace. Princess Celestia soon turned her attention to a small pile of Hearth's-warming Eve presents from her faithful student, Twilight Sparkle, and her friends. She focused her magic on the first present and levitated it towards herself until it was directly in front of her. The present was wrapped in lavender-colored wrapping paper, tied with a violet-colored ribbon, and had a small name card on it with the words written on it. To Princess Celestia, from Spike and your faithful student, Twilight Sparkle.
Looks like Twilight and Spike's gift is first,
she thought to herself as she looked at it, and placed it down on the rug in front of her.
I wonder what it could be.
Princess Celestia looked at it for a short while, thinking before she gave a little chuckle as she began to recall a Hearth's-warming Eve going back years ago.
I hope it's not something like the very first gift she gave me. I remember that Hearth's-warming Eve so well.
The streets of Canterlot were filled with ponies preparing for the joyful celebration of Hearth's-warming Eve. Wreaths were hung on doors and in windows of every building and home. Trees were decorated with glass balls and tinsel, and carols filling the white snow-covered streets with holiday joy, including house number 3942 on Galloping Lane, the home of Nightlight. Along with his wife, Twilight Velvet, and their 2 children, their oldest son, Shine Armor, and their youngest daughter, Twilight Sparkle. Twilight, at that time, was a little toddler, just barely beginning to speak, nearly 2 years old, and in 3 months' time, she was due to be potty trained. On that very night, Nightlight was sitting in his armchair with toddler Twilight in the living room, reading her a story. It was a story that involved Heartswarming Eve, for it was the holiday tradition to tell Heartswarming Eve themed stories to little fillies and colts like herself.
So, you see, Twilight?
Nightlight said, as he finished the story and put the book down.
Heartswarming Eve is a time that is better to give than receive. Do you know what that means, sweetie?
Twilight shook her head.
No?
Well, it is more virtuous to give things than to get them. Instead of thinking so much about what you want for your birthday or Heartswarming Eve, think about what to give to others for their birthdays or Heartswarming Eve. And when you give them something for either of those days, leave a part of you to show how much you care. Do you understand that, sweetie?
I understand, Daddy.
Nightlight gave Twilight a hug.
That's my girl.
Just at that moment, Twilight's mother, Twilight Velvet, came walking into the living room, levitating a tray with a baby bottle full of warm milk.
Her milk's ready, darling.
Well, time for Betty Bye, sweetie.
Nightlight got up out of his seat and carried his toddler daughter in one hoof upstairs to her nursery. Nightlight then opened the door of Twilight's nursery with his magic, and then walked in with his wife and daughter. Twilight Velvet laid the tray on a dressing table before levitating the bottle off it. Nightlight placed toddler Twilight into her crib and tucked her in, while Twilight Velvet placed the baby bottle of warm milk into Twilight's little hoofs. Nightlight and Twilight Velvet then leaned down and kissed Twilight's head.
Good night, sweetie.
Sweet dreams, my little pony.
Nightlight and Twilight Velvet then walked out of the nursery after turning off the light and leaving Twilight Sparkle drinking out of her baby bottle. As Twilight sucked on her bedtime bottle, she could hear her parents talking outside the nursery door that was opened slightly.
Did you remember to get the gift for the princess, honey?
Of course I did, dear. I got it while I went shopping with Shining today.
Oh, good. I hope this gift will help us win this year.
Oh, Nightlight.
Oh, come on, honey. You know how I feel about Posh Life and Set for Life winning Best Heartswarming Eve gift for royalty every year and rubbing it in every pony's faces like a bunch of high horses.
Nightlight stood up straight with pride.
Well, not this year. This year, we'll get the prize.
Oh, really? You're just as bad as Shining is when he talks to that royal guard and is obsessed with being one of them when he grows up. I think he gets it from you.
Oh, honey.
Nightlight shared a kiss with Twilight Velvet.
We're so lucky to have those two. I hope we do win this year.
I hope so too. I really do.
Nightlight and Twilight Velvet then began to walk downstairs, with the sound of their talking and chuckling falling fainter and fainter outside the door of Twilight's nursery. Little did they know that little Twilight had been listening to everything they had said as she continued to suck on her bottle. The next day soon came by, and the streets were as busy, snowy, and beautiful as usual, for it was the day before Heartswarming Eve. Twilight Velvet had just finished wrapping the present for the princess that they were going to give for the best Heartswarming Eve gift for royalty, for it was the tradition in Camelot that pony families can give a gift to the princess that had been around for many, many years. And the family that gave the best gift was given a chance to spend a Heartswarming Eve feast with Her Royal Highness, Princess Celestia herself. Nightlight had been entering it since he was a little colt, Ever since his childhood rival, Sephiroth, and his family had been winning it for years, he had always wanted to win.
Well, all done.
Wonderful, honey. Are you sure you'll be fine taking the kids with you to the castle's Great Hall?
Twilight Velvet nodded.
Of course. I know how busy you'll be shoveling the snow off the stairs and the path outside. So I'll take them with me to get them off your hooves.
Thanks, honey.
Just then, toddler Twilight came up to her mother, Twilight Velvet, and poked at her to get her attention. Twilight Velvet turned her attention to little Twilight to see that she was holding what looked like a badly wrapped present. It was sealed well, but it was poorly wrapped in Hearth's Warming Eve themed wrapping paper and sticky tape.
What's that, sweetheart?
Princess. Princess.
Oh, Twilight. Is that a present for Princess Celestia?
Little Twilight smiled.
Yeah.
Nightlight levitated the badly wrapped gift from little Twilight's hooves and took a look at it.
What's in it, Twilight, sweetheart? Is it something you made yourself?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so sweet. We should put our gift in too.
Nightlight thought for a moment, looking at the gift, and then at his little daughter's cute, innocent look.
Well... okay. We can give this to the princess too.
Twilight Velvet began making a little tag on little Twilight's gift. As she did, Nightlight suddenly noticed that little Twilight was wearing a diaper with pink bunnies on it.
That's strange. I could have sworn that the diaper I changed her in this morning had teddy bears on it.
Nightlight thought for a moment as to why Twilight was wearing a different diaper, but soon shrugged it off, thinking that his wife must have changed her earlier while he was not looking. He then soon focused on finding his son, Shining Armor, who was upstairs.
Shining! It's time to go! Your mother's waiting!
Coming, Daddy!
Shining Armor came down the stairs, wearing what looked like a Royal Guard armor costume made out of cardboard and tinfoil that Shining Armor had put together himself.
Now, Shining, you know you can't go out looking like that.
But, Mommy!
Shining Armor started, but Twilight Velvet held up a hoof to silence him.
No buts, young colt. Now take it all off and put your scarf on. We have to go now.
Shining Armor put his head down.
Ugh, alright.
Shining Armor soon took off his homemade Royal Guard armor costume, got a scarf from the dresser near the front door, and wrapped it around his neck. Twilight Velvet then put the two gifts into her bag on one side and placed the little Twilight into a baby saddle on the other.
Well, we should get going now.
See you later, honey.
Nightlight kissed Twilight Velvet.
Have a good time.
He then looked at his son, Shining Armor.
You be good, Shining, and do what your mother tells you to do.
Shining Armor saluted.
I will!
Twilight Velvet and the two children walked out the door and down the doorsteps. Snowflakes began to rain down slowly onto the snow on the streets. One snowflake landed right on Twilight Sparkle's nose and made her giggle with joy. Twilight Velvet waved her hoof at Nightlight.
Bye, dear. See you soon.
Bye, honey.
Little Twilight waved her little hooves at Nightlight.
Bye, Daddy. Bye.
Nightlight waved back as his family walked down the street. He then levitated a shovel with his magic and began to shovel snow off the steps to their house. Twilight Velvet soon arrived at the Great Hall of the Royal Camelot Castle with her children. The entire hall was decorated with many Hearth's-Warming Eve decorations, along with a big Hearth's-Warming Eve tree at the other end of the hall with a large pile of presents underneath it. They made their way towards the large tree, for Twilight Velvet knew it was where they had to put their gifts to the princess. As they approached the tree, They were served by a light gray unicorn pony wearing a white powdered wig and a funny dark green suit. Twilight Velvet knew too well that it was Princess Celestia's Lord Chamberlain standing in front of the rope entrance to the pile of gifts under the tree.
I assume you're here to place a gift under the tree for Her Royal Highness?
Yes, Lord Chamberlain.
Twilight Velvet levitated Twilight Sparkle's gift and the family's gift in front of him.
2 gifts this year, in fact.
Lord Chamberlain took a long, hard look at the badly wrapped gift that Twilight Velvet levitated in front of him.
And what, may I ask, is this?
Oh, my little daughter made something herself to give to the princess as a gift.
The Lord Chamberlain looked at the badly wrapped gift with a hard look.
I'm sorry. I'm afraid this gift can't be put with the others.
Twilight Velvet tilted her head.
Why not? Is there a rule about little children entering?
No, ma'am, but,
Well, please let my little filly's present to the princess be under the tree.
Lord Chamberlain looked at Twilight Velvet, then at little Twilight in her baby saddle, and then at the badly wrapped gift. He then sighed and reluctantly allowed it.
Oh, all right. Fine, you can put it in.
Thank you.
You're entering that ugly thing? Twilight Velvet turned her head towards where the voice came from, only to see 2 unicorn ponies standing there. 2 unicorns she knew all too well.
Hello, Set for Life. And Posh Life.
I can't believe you're putting that tacky thing in with these other gifts.
It doesn't have a chance to win. Twilight Velvet glared, trying her best to stop herself from yelling at the 2 ponies for their rudeness towards something made by her baby daughter.
I'm not expecting it to win. My little girl just wanted to give her gift to the princess. That's all.
Whatever. We, of course, have already put our gift in. Our gift is sure to win again.
Posh Life stroked her mane with her hoof.
After all, we win it every year. It's only fitting that we give the best and most expensive gifts to the princess.
How expensive the gift is isn't what actually matters.
Oh, please. That's the type of words only losers use.
Posh Life held up a makeup mirror with her hoof and used her magic to put on lipstick.
Come on, honey bun. Let's go home. All this clown of losers is getting to me.
Set for Life and Posh Life walked away laughing with stuck-up overconfidence, with Twilight Velvet looking annoyed at the rich, high-horse mannerism of the rich couple. She understood why her husband wanted to win so much. She then levitated little Twilight's gift and the family's gift under the big, hearts-warming Eve tree. Suddenly, as she was just about to leave, Twilight Velvet realized that her son, Shining Armor, was missing. She briefly looked around frantically for him, only to see him talking to some royal guards standing at their posts. Shining Armor was admired by the guards, for it was his dream to become one.
So how do I get into the Royal Guards, mister?
Shining Armor asked, but none of the guards answered, nor even looked at him.
Oh, come on! You can tell me!
Shining!
Twilight Velvet bounded over.
What have I told you about wandering off like that?
But Mom! I was just asking the—
Leave the guards alone! Now come on, we're going home.
All right.
Twilight Velvet left the castle's great hall with her 2 children. She was still a bit understandably angry about Shining Armor wandering off, but was relieved that nothing bad happened to him. She looked at little Twilight in her baby saddle, who was sitting there sucking on a candy cane, being good and quiet the whole time. Later that afternoon, Lord Chamberlain organized for the hall to be cleared for the princess to enter and begin the gift opening. Before long, the hall was cleared of any public, and only the servants, royal guards, and the Lord Chamberlain himself were left in the room as the doors closed. A moment later, Princess Celestia came into the great hall with her servants bowing before her. The Lord Chamberlain stood before Celestia in front of the tree, with a many presents from the citizens of Canterlot resting underneath. Lord Chamberlain bowed.
Your Highness, the gifts from your subjects are all accounted for and are ready for you.
Wonderful, Lord Chamberlain. I see we have a few extra ones this year.
Indeed.
Celestia sat down at her throne.
Well, shall we begin?
Of course, Your Highness.
Lord Chamberlain levitated the first gift from under the tree and looked at the gift tag.
This one comes from Set for Life and Posh Life, our common winners.
Princess Celestia took hold of it with her magic and removed the wrapping. The gift to her from them turned out to be a flower fashioned from gold and jewels. Celestia smiled.
How lovely! This must have been very expensive.
Indeed, Your Highness.
Just when Lord Chamberlain was about to bring forth the next gift, he suddenly paused. He then began to sniff with his nose in the air, with a look of disgust on his face.
Is there something wrong, Lord Chamberlain?
What is that smell? It's ghastly.
One servant smelled the air.
You're right! Whew! That smells nasty.
In a matter of minutes, almost all the great hall was filled with a mysterious, foul, quick-spreading odor. The smell was awful. So much that not even the royal guards could keep their composure for long. Before long, almost everyone in the great hall held their noses, for the smell had become too much to bear.
Quick!
Lord Chamberlain commanded the servants and guards with his hoof over his nose.
Everybody search the hall! Find the source of the smell!
Everyone in the great hall began to search everywhere to try and find where the awful smell was coming from. Minutes ticked by, and they had not yet found the source of the smell. Princess Celestia sat there watching her servants and guards searching around the great hall. She found it hard to keep a straight face, for she found it somewhat entertaining to watch. Lord Chamberlain bravely uncovered his nose to try and locate the source of the smell. As he walked away from the tree, he found that the smell became fainter. It was then he realized that the smell was possibly coming from where the tree was.
Everybody, search the tree! It's coming from there!
Lord Chamberlain, along with the servants and guards, began looking around the tree, searching for the smell. They were even smelling the gifts under the tree. One by one, they smelled every last gift that laid under the tree, until Lord Chamberlain came across one gift that was badly wrapped, for it was the gift that little Twilight had wrapped that her mother had put there earlier. With cautious curiosity, he levitated with his magic and noticed it had been slightly ripped, most likely from the weight of the other gifts. Lord Chamberlain brought it over to him closer and took a good sniff right where the rip in the gift was. His eyes widened with shock and then began to cough and gag as if he were going to vomit, for he had found the source of the smell.
Everybody cease your search! I found it!
Everyone in the hall stopped searching and gathered round toward Lord Chamberlain, who was holding a little toddler's badly wrapped gift with his magic. The smell was getting to the point where it became absolutely unbearable. Lord Chamberlain decided that he had to open it to find out what was inside.
Every pony, stand back!
Everyone in the hall stood back at Lord Chamberlain's command. Cautiously, he slowly began to open the gift. With each second that ticked by with him opening it, everyone wondered what could be inside that could cause such a horrible, nauseating smell. Finally, after 20 seconds of careful opening, Lord Chamberlain unstuck the last strip of sticky tape and opened the gift up completely. Everyone gathered around to see what was inside, only to show shock and disgust to what they had found.
Ugh, repulsive!
A royal guard coughed.
Ew, rancid!
Oh, gross! Oh, disgusting!
A female servant gagged. Everyone began to take steps back. Lord Chamberlain did not look where he was going and slipped over a gift, landing flat on his back, messing up his powdered wig as it fell off his head. Princess Celestia, who was sitting at her throne watching everything, quietly chuckled under her breath. She then got up from her throne and came down to see for herself what was going on. She made her way into the crowd and looked down at what they had found.
What is this? Where did this come from?
That very evening, Nightlight and Twilight Velvet were sitting in the living room, quietly relaxing and getting warm in front of the fireplace. Shining Armor was sitting on the floor, playing with Twilight Sparkle. A little colored lights decorated on the tree in the living room shined and twinkled brightly, like stars in the night sky. It felt magical to Nightlight and Twilight Velvet to see that. The quiet and peaceful atmosphere was cut short by the chime of the doorbell at the front door.
Who could that be?
Nightlight and Twilight Velvet both got up off the sofa and went to answer the door. With their magic, they opened the door to see who it could be. To their surprise, they found that their visitor was Lord Chamberlain, along with a couple of the royal guards. And to their even bigger surprise, sitting there in her chariot parked right outside their house in the street was Her Royal Highness, Princess Celestia herself.
Is this the residence of Nightlight and Twilight Velvet?
Nightlight and Twilight Velvet gasped with amazement, with their eyes widened with great joy.
Oh my goodness, honey. Do you know what this means? We've won!
I don't believe it! Mwah!
Twilight Velvet kissed and hugged her husband.
I knew that wonderful gift we entered would get us to win this year.
Oh, very funny. You thought it would be amusing, did you? Well, I have got news for you. It wasn't!
Twilight Velvet tilted her head.
Amusing? What are you talking about?
As if you don't know! Do you realize it's going to take weeks to remove that ghastly smell from the carpet? We might even have to replace the whole carpet!
Shining Armor and Twilight Sparkle, hearing the commotion from the living room, both came to the door to see what was going on, and were standing behind their parents at the front door.
I'm sorry, but we don't have any idea what you're talking about, Lord Chamberlain.
Then what do you call...
Lord Chamberlain angrily presented Twilight Sparkle's opened, badly wrapped gift with his magic, nearly slamming it in Nightlight's face as he angrily says,
This!
Nightlight quickly covered his nose and gagged when he caught a whiff of the foul smell coming from Twilight's gift. As the Lord Chamberlain showed the badly wrapped gift and unfolded it slightly, something fell out and landed on the doorstep. They looked in horror to see that the thing that fell out was a white, dirty diaper with teddy bears on it. Nightlight then recalled that it was the same diaper that his daughter was changed into this morning, and that she was wearing a different one later before leaving. Realizing this, They soon put two and two together and realized that Twilight had taken her dirty diaper off and wrapped it up as a present before putting another one on. Twilight was a clever little toddler after all. They turned around to see little Twilight standing behind them, holding her favorite doll, Smarty Pants, in her hooves.
Twilight Sparkle! Did you give a dirty diaper to the princess? Why would you do that?
Twilight Sparkle looked up at her mother with her sweet little eyes.
I keep me, Mommy. I keep me.
Shine Armor, who was standing there too, began to laugh because he thought it was funny what Twilight had just done. Probably the funniest thing he had ever seen.
That's not funny, Shining! Twilight, you naughty, naughty little filly!
No, honey.
Nightlight said, for he realized what their daughter meant.
It wasn't her fault. I'm afraid it's my fault. Last night, I told her the story about giving and receiving and how when you give a gift to some pony you care about, you leave a part of you to show how much you care.
Twilight Velvet put a hoof over her mouth.
Oh dear.
Well, it's not going to make up for the chaos it caused. I have never seen any act so repulsive in all my years that I have...
Everyone was suddenly interrupted by the sound of taller Twilight Sparkle, beginning to cry with tears quickly trickling down her little cheeks. For feeling she was in big trouble, her heart was hurt. Princess Celestia, who was watching and listening to everything, felt sorry for that poor, sweet little filly, knowing that what she did was of good intention. Before Twilight Velvet could comfort little Twilight began to levitate in Celestia's light gold magic aura. She then levitated the little, crying Twilight Sparkle towards her and held her in her hoofs with a warm, loving hold. Twilight looked up at Celestia with her little, tear-filled eyes, with Celestia looking down at her with a caring smile. Celestia wrapped her wing around little Twilight as she held her in her hoofs.
There. No need to cry, little one. I know you meant no trouble. You are a very sweet little filly. In fact, that was the best gift any pony has ever given me.
Twilight began to stop crying at what the princess had said. Twilight Velvet came forward towards Princess Celestia.
Your Highness, I'm so sorry about what happened with the diaper.
That's perfectly alright, Mrs. Velvet. In fact, it's the real reason why I'm here. Because I wanted to present the prize of the best gift given to you and your family personally for this little one's gift.
The Lord Chamberlain jolted with shock, nearly throwing his wig off.
What? But, Your Highness, with all due respect, that little toddler gave you a dirty diaper. I don't see how something like that could be worthy of the best gift given.
Oh, Lord Chamberlain. How much a gift is worth isn't what really matters. This little one gave a part of her as a gift. And even though she didn't truly understand, it was a very sweet thing she did. Because in the end, it's the thought that really counts. Do you understand what I'm saying, Lord Chamberlain?
The Lord Chamberlain looked surprised, not expecting to get a lecture from Her Royal Highness.
How expensive the gift isn't what matters.
The Lord Chamberlain's eyebrows rose as he recalled Twilight Velvet's words. Somehow, it all made sense now.
I guess so.
Wonderful! Now, would you mind going back to the castle to get the Hearthstorming Eve feast organized for tomorrow? Meanwhile, I feel like having a nice warm cup of tea with this lovely family.
Yes, of course, Your Highness.
Oh, and I would like to make a decree that this contest will be cancelled forever.
What? Cancelled? But Your Highness, this has been a tradition for many years.
True, but it was started by your ancestors. Besides, it does make me look a bit greedy, don't you think?
Well,
Now would you please organize that straight away?
But... yes, of course, Your Highness.
The Lord Chamberlain began to walk away down the snowy street back to the castle. Princess Celestia then turned her attention back to Twilight Velvet and Nightlight.
Do come in, Your Highness.
Thank you kindly.
Princess Celestia leaned in to Twilight Velvet and whispered something to her.
Just between us, I secretly give all the gifts away to charity.
Oh! We won't tell any, Pony.
Twilight Velvet took back little Twilight from Princess Celestia.
Royal guards are welcome too.
Yippee!
Shine Armor jumped with joy at how the two royal guards were joining them, with the guards smiling at the little cult spirit.
Well, let's go inside and have some tea.
Princess Celestia and her guards walked up the steps and entered the front door into the house to enjoy some warm tea with the family, closing the door behind them, with snowflakes slowly raining down into the streets. Posh Life and Set for Life were looking at a local newspaper article about the winners of Best Heartwarming Gift and the royal decree that the best gift for royalty would be cancelled.
They won?
Oh, forever cancelled? That is not fair!
We deserve a redo!
They looked at the food section of the newspaper.
No more baked hayloaf this year! Curse you, Nightlight!
Princess Celestia began to chuckle as she finished recalling the memory of that heart-warming eve long ago in her personal chambers in the present.
I never had that much amusement in a long time before that day.
Then, without delay, she used her magic to open the wrapping paper of Twilight and Spike's gift and opened the box. Inside the box, she found it was full of homemade pony-shaped cookies made of shortbread, chocolate chips, and coated with hard, white icing on the hindquarters. She looked at them with surprise because the icing on the hindquarters looked like baby diapers. Princess Celestia briefly laughed heartily at what Twilight and Spike had given her.
Oh, my favorite. What a wonderful gift.
Princess Celestia chuckled once again as she took a bite from the first cookie and moved on to the next gift, for it was the best gift she ever received from any pony.
I assume you're here to place under the gift. Under the gift? It's gift under the tree, you dumbass. I just insulted myself. Alright, try again. That was fun. I could just envision that. The Chamberlain slipping on a gift and landing flat on his back, messing up his powdered wig. Yeah, I actually loved that gag when I wrote that in the story. What? But Your Highness, with all due respect, that toddler gave you a dirty diaper. I don't see how something like that could ever be worthy of the best gift given.
Of course you don't, you close-minded fuckwit. Again, I'm insulting the Lord Chamberlain. This recording should probably be called Raptormon Roasts Lord Chamberlain.
What the fuck? That's Squidward. Get the fuck out, Squidward! Jesus. Sorry. Okay.
Did you remember to get the... Oh, God! Why do I keep saying princess after... It's gift, not princess. Why?
That's what I do to warm up for the baby voice for baby Twilight. As I do baby voices in general.
Easy, princess.
What the fuck was going on with my throat? Oh,
You try to get freaking cuteness on me. Fuck you.
I'll try that again. Little Twilight smiled.
Yeah. I'm dying of cuteness.
Nightlife. Why am I saying the dad's names wrong? What the fuck is wrong with me? You're entering that ugly thing. Something weird happened in my mouth. Frickin' saliva. You fucking shit. Before Twilight Velvet could comfort little Twilight began to levitate in Celestia's light gold magic aura. She then levitated the little, crying Twilight Sparkle towards her, and held her in her hooves with a warm, loving hold. Jesus Christ, I'm crying. Oh my god. Oh my god. This is so much feels in this.